Good evening. I would like to call to sessions Brunswick City Commission session for Wednesday, January 14, 2025 at 5:30 p.m. We are moving into a public discussion and public work on Howard Coffin Park improvements. We've seen a lot of dollars be put into it. We know we have several different organizations that use the park and want to ensure that the masking going forward is understood by not only commission but all parties. So with that, open up our discussion and throw it to our directors who've been working it since inception. Thank you, Director Halverson.
There we go. Put together a presentation tonight for y'all to kind of bring you up to speed to where we are working through the items, this grant, and kind of let you know the status of each item and the overall grant process and what we have remaining and where we're headed from here. So we'll let this load a little bit. Okay. Go ahead. There you go. So this is our original grant budget submittal. The original application that was in and approved included several grant items, big ticket items such as field lighting, field improvements, athletic field improvements on both the baseball and soccer, football field, and then some smaller items such as sidewalks, basketball courts, some netting and accessories, goals around the soccer field and field, some football fields, and that kind of thing. The original grant amount that was approved, $1,931,644, and with we were obligated for a $600,000 local match. So we took that, got started with our procurement, started with the lighting, the field improvement procurement, and as we got into field procurement, realized that we could install the synthetic football field. That's where we came back to y'all. We got approval on that. And next slide. We submitted a budget adjustment to our grant. Can you back up one, please? Thank you. Took advantage of a 10% contingency that was available to us. Adjusted some of the items and ended up with a grant amount of just over $2 million. And taking advantage of that 10% contingency. Still obligated for a $600,000 local match. That new scope, the revised scope, is the scope we're currently working off of. Next slide, please. These are the items included in that current grant scope that we're off of, which is field lighting, regrading and improvements to the softball and baseball field, all 4 fields, grading and sod on the field, synthetic football field. We replaced the dugout roofs and the press boxes at each ball field. Shade cover on some of the baseball seating at all 4 fields. Basketball courts, bleachers, spectator bleachers, and player benches at the football field. A new pedestrian bridge over the tidal canal that runs east and west through the park. And then concrete sidewalks to connect both ends, the parking and accessways at both ends of the park. The next slide, please. This is the location map that was submitted with the original grant application. We didn't submit a new location map budget adjustment, but this includes the primary items that we're working on: the baseball field improvement, shows the sidewalk in there, shows the basketball court, some potential parking there. the fielding is listed on there. Next slide, please. And this is a similar map of the end of the park below the tidal canal, indicating the field improvements, the soccer improvements, football field improvements, the sidewalk through the park, synthetic or improved surface around the workout facility within the track. This does show a restroom on there, which is not in, is one of the grant items possible with some of our match, and some improved parking there. So, so those items that have in the scope, and so I'm going to let Tim Nelson, project manager, talk to you a little bit about each of those items, kind of give an update on where we are with them and a little more detail of each item. So.
Good evening. Through the list of items, would you back up? This is the right there. Thank you. What we've been able to accomplish so far, the contractor completed 4 of the baseball, softball fields last Friday. So he is wrapped up, other than sending us some bases. All of the fields, the 4 fields in the front were basically lit up, completely regraded. It's a conical grade. The infield water runs off to the stands, and the outlet runs to the outfield field. There were whole water. So there were the ground itself was prepped, aerated, raised up, and then the new sod was installed over the past 2.5 weeks. So it's going to be a minute before the grass actually roots. We have, for now, posted banners on the fence that they're not open for play, just to give the grass an opportunity to take hold before we get out there on it. But we made it as user friendly. We would put warning tracks around the field, competitive play, and made it easier to maintain as far as edging the grass and such. We did, like I mentioned, we ran into some metal issues on the dugout. We're talking, dealing with those because of much rust, structural issues that we actually had to come in and do some welding, building, and which brought us into prepping and painting. We were able to get new roofs on all of the dugouts that sorely needed, and the press box didn't have roofs at the time, so we were able to add those as well. Moving up to the south end, we were able to help Sean's group, the soccer field, because it had a real issue with holding water. So we debated, really elevated the field 10 inches.
Can I stop you real quick?
Yes.
I didn't know we were moving on to the start, and I want to split it up for questions as we go through. With the baseball fields, I know some we talked about initially when we went for the grant, during that some of the fields would be able for maybe travel ball. We could start to advertise to their joint tournaments or open it up for some tournament play. Do you feel like we're at that point with these improved? I love the warning track. I know that was a part of other things as
the field quality, without a doubt, is travel ball.
Got it.
Without.
Got it.
As a collegiate base player myself, I played on fields much worse than these.
Perfect.
So these are state-of-the-art fields.
There you go.
So, and it's, it's our responsibility now to maintain them.
One of the questions, as I had conversations with people around using this and ensuring that we would get to travel specificity, or it could at least be attractive in that way. The common thing said is we had to have a to necessarily control the gate, old people coming in, coming out, because that's how travel ball makes money on dead events. We see the park, I know not at current, but do we see the park able to grow there in 2 to 3 years? Do you have anything in your mind that says this we could possibly do?
In my design of thinking how this will lay out in terms of ball, that's why we designated the south end park.
Got it.
Parking. and then we'll have a sidewalk leaves from the parking into all the athletic fields,
Okay.
which is typically how they would set up gates or
Yeah.
their pay table. And that's how you have to go
So you
through.
would move them down Park South End,
That's
a
correct.
single
That's
walk
correct. We
path.
fill them to an
Gotcha.
area where we can help manage
The
the,
ticket.
the money. So
Perfect. Any questions?
Did we ever get a quote on the netting? Like netting meaning for like the balls, like I know that Mayor talked about is the fielding condition for travel ball. The field might be, but then what preventing the balls from going on Glen Avenue with home runs?
Ugh.
That's the,
netting on the baseball field, well, that's softball.
well, okay, soft base, I mean, because we play on softball too, so any of the fields.
There
Mm.
had there because it was my understanding that the fields to Gloucester, Lanier, or softball fields that would never have balls that reach way.
And I only ask because at North Glen, we play our softball, baseball.
Okay, at the
They use
baseball
all the
fields,
fields.
we set at two different age bases. So we've got base stops for 11, 12, and 13, 14, and any home runs or foul balls on those parks. Worst case would hit a car coming into the park on the right field.
The two fields to Gloucester now are no longer adaptable for baseball.
No, those are stall.
Okay.
The bigger fields 3 and
Mm-hmm.
are, according to Ms. Vanessa, the older age group, the baseball fields.
Okay, so what about like for the mites, midgets?
They could play on the shorter bases that softball is set up for.
Okay, because usually, it used to be as such that those fields were adaptable for baseball and softball, and they had the tournament and the travel teams that played the mites and the midgets played the first two fields, and then the older guy played on those two larger fields. So when Commissioner Roll talking about the nets, you're talking about the nets that's gonna catch the balls from those two smaller fields, because they'll hit softballs out the park too. So you still nets to catch those balls from going on to Gloucester as cars are traveling by, played on them. So I know.
Field 2 is the one that's in the 17 in Gloucester, which has an elevated right field fence.
Mm-hmm.
If somebody's hitting the ball over that, they don't need to be playing on that field.
Okay. Well, now you have some now. You have some that can do it now.
The other field with left field shot that would have to get into Gloucester. I mean, we're definitely
Left-handed players. Right, hit it right over to the to the convenience store. I played.
let's definitely take a look at that
Mm-hmm.
and see what the necessity be.
Perfect.
But netting on those fields was never an equation.
But I appreciate being able to let's assess, and if we have that issue, we know that there is a fix.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Mr. Mayor, one of the things I had is in the original scope, Tim, was irrigation improvements field, and so I don't see that in the current project scope, so I was curious, if you could talk a little bit about, so we invest a lot of money on grass, so are we prepared to take care of that grass and?
Yeah. Yes,
Yeah.
irrigation is there.
Okay.
We've had, sidebar discussions about grass treatment, see, mowing, that I think we still have some questions that to be addressed, because once it starts growing, there is going to be a pretty significant maintenance that needs to go along with those fields to maintain.
Well, in the infield, I'm also concerned about if we have the right equipment to drag those.
We did,
those
we purchased that.
Okay, good. All right.
That's there and it's on site. We even had a contractor kind of do a tutorial
Oh, great.
with the guys that were over there last week before I left town. And he supplied a drag pattern, a schedule, how to do it, when to do it. So we have all that information.
Perfect.
The irrigation you mentioned, line item for
Yeah.
irrigation in the original was intended for the soccer field, right, the soccer field.
makes
So
sense.
when we went synthetic,
Mhm.
that was no longer needed.
Gotcha. So no longer synthetic.
So,
My question for me, I'm
go
sorry.
ahead. No, go ahead.
How long does it take to grow in before it is pulled? Just wondering. I know it
It's,
probably takes.
well, it's so weather determined.
Got it.
When he first started laying the sod on field 2, you can look at that outfield and see when they first laid grass, we kept rejecting probably 2.5 truckloads of grass when it got here, but for the quality of the grass.
Okay.
So we sent it back, but you can see it's already started trying to turn green.
Yeah.
And then you see where the other grass is. If we could, once we get out of the 30 weather, get up in the 50s for a few days,
Yeah.
it'll start turning to green.
So what about along Lanier? All of those trees and bushes and all of that jungle. That's where. What are we doing about
Are
that?
you talking about on the tidal ditch?
Yes, Lord.
We are working now with DNR to get our CMBA permit that we need to clear that area and regrade those ditches to improve the drainage and the vegetation there. So that's underway. We hope to get that permit issued in February at this PA meeting.
That,
It's,
that's a jungle.
it is underway, so.
I'm scared it's hiding up in there.
Let's see, the projects that were completed were the dugouts, dust boxes. Oh, are there? Okay. Yes, the athletic line, next slide. Three ahead, probably. Go ahead. Next. Okay, the athletic lighting. We have state-of-the-art lighting, and nobody's seen it yet. I've gone about 3 times early in the morning. It's absolutely amazing bright that is. So it's going to be gorgeous. I've got a call out for Georgia Power right now. They do a certification ceremony. They'll come down from Atlanta. They'll bring all the controllers. It's Wi-Fi controlled. So Miss Vanessa will be turning them on, turn them off from wherever she is off her phone, and they'll basically say it's yours. So, it is bright. Next slide. Go ahead.
A quick question about that. Are there any environmental effects?
Georgia Power had all those discussions with DNR on the front end. All that was approved as far as size of lighting, directional. So
Perfect.
there are no surprises.
Thank you.
Let me ask you one thing too, Tim, with the lights. So when the fields are rented, does it have to be a staff member that controls the lighting, or is there some type of mechanism that the person that's in the field can deposit money, how control the lighting?
Currently the lights are control panel
Mm-hmm.
at there's 3 different panels. There's one by the south end, the soccer side by Lanier. There's one behind field 3 and one behind field 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now they're padlocked on a coded lock. I don't know there's a way to meet those lights and shut them off because of how complex those operate.
Mm-hmm. So you would, and I ask this because it's going to be the question.
Mhm.
There's going to be the question because not only are the children using those fields, once people get back into the room that Coffin Park is back open for baseball, softball, you're going to have not only travel teams you're going to have travel teams that want to get for the adults as well. It male, female, or get the mixed teams. The co-ed team. I lost that one. They're gonna use those fields. And then people practicing on those fields having ability to control the lights or what have you. I would understand with the investment that we're making in this lighting system is that, didn't want everybody having access, able to get to those lights. We want to make sure somebody's there that knows what they're doing so that we don't tear them up before they should be torn up
Exactly.
or put them out of use before they should be out of use.
Exactly.
So I guess kind of assess how that looks. And I guess that's something that that Director Booker will have to weigh in on.
Yeah, the controls that she sets and how she manages the revenues that come from the rent, and you know, that can be all part of her dialogue, city manager. That's the baseball, softball field, new side. Next slide, please. The synthetic turf, it originally called for, when you said netting, I thought you were referring to the netting softball at the football field. But we actually ended up, the age groups that are going to play on that field don't require field goalposts. So we opted not to have netting. We in change took that money and fencing all the way around the field, secure the field for the same dollar. So we anticipate any balls, and it's so far from the field to the ditch. It's highly improbable that any ball will leave the field to the water. Next, please. That's the mention of the dugouts, press box ceilings. We're hoping that we're going to be able to, as we get to the last couple big ticket items, you know, we're going to be able to put some significant shade over the stands over there, because it does get brutally hot in the summertime. And again, in terms of thinking of travel ball and constant traffic, it's going to be coming in and out of there. You know, we would be well suited to make sure that we had at least half of the seating in the shade. So,
What are you thinking about a solution for that? Is it a metal canopy? Is it a sunshade, a fabric shade, or?
I'm thinking both of those at the moment. The sunshade is by far cheaper. We have the wind issue with the sunshade. Yep.
Right.
Yep. So that is something that we'll have to make sure that we can down, and it's going to be large pieces of cloth or multiple piece cloth in a design. So we're just kind of getting current numbers that I've received, and it was 2 years old. So I know that they're different. So I'm waiting on launch from some vendors, and then we'll see what makes the most sense. Next slide, please. Okay, next slide. Basketball courts. In our initial proposal, we proposed three half court. Based on the square footage that we ended up actually able to use, they only allowed 2 courts. 3 would have been too tight. So I opted to just back everything down to 2 courts, and plus again the costs are up a little bit over our initial numbers anyway. So that picture right there is what we did at Orange Square. That's what it will look like. That's 2 courts that are back to back, goals in opposite ends, and we color code opposite color codes just for aesthetics. They would come in and paint a base coat black, and then put into 2 courts with additional lighting that we've pointed on the side, pointing away toward the goals of keeping them away from the fence on Lanier.
Which direction are they going to be oriented?
They will be north and south. They'll run parallel to the tennis courts.
And it's going to be a certain time that these courts are going to be accessible, right?
When I met Georgia Power out there, they actually have two mean trolling lights. There's a dial meter that you can set at 30 minutes or 45 minutes. It's out there and it'll shut off. And then there's a control that inside the panel that is a mandatory shut off at whatever time we set. And it can't be turned on until dark the next day.
Okay, on that Lanier Bar side, parking wise,
Mhm.
are we gonna have some type of structures that's gonna kind of keep people from being able? I ask this because even if lights go out, cars have lights, and we don't want the temptation of lights being put on the court so you can still play. I may try to go play some midnight ball, but no, I'm just playing. But no, but some people may have that a notion in their minds, and so we want to kind of detour
Sure.
that thought process,
Sure.
not to keep people playing, but to play at a reasonable hour. And so, how are we considering that? And we know people come up on the grass and close and all that stuff now, and it doesn't help us with all of this money and the beautification of the park, and then people drive up on the grass and all kind of stuff. I can't stand to see that.
I'm going to put a parking lot, a formalized parking lot along Lanier, where we've got the cades currently. And we have that right now, just protecting the edge of the asphalt. So it doesn't, cars that want to keep parking there will damage the edge of the concrete. We can get our we do kind of a hybrid parking lot, similar to what we did at Liberty with the gravers, fill them with small stone, and it allows her then to infiltrate, get off the road. If you're talking in reference to where they come in to the park and then drive left off the grass.
So you can, I'm turning off Rochester, all of the immediate area right on this, on this side. And they'll pull up and park right here at the basketball court.
I would,
I mean, we want people to be able to park, but
yeah, they're bollards. You can only go so
Okay.
far. But rather than putting a screen up, I would look at maybe putting some shrubs, something up. It's a softer look that blocks headlights and stuff like that.
and our paving is pervious.
Yes.
We're gonna
Yeah, it's going to be a granite. It'll have a catch basin underneath it to trap the water, but it's all going to be gravel. It's actually a stone similar to what we used on the warning track that actually will mat down nicely, but not damage the roots of the trees and allow still to get to the roots.
On the basketball courts, is there fence
Yes.
you're thinking about going up? Is that all the way around? Is it?
No, it's a long linear.
Okay.
It'll turn the corner and go roughly halfway.
Okay.
Have to trap the balls from escaping the court.
Uh,
They don't have to walk all the way around to enter the court.
Gotcha. And then for style of backboard, are you gonna use those rounded shaped ones, or are we gonna go more traditional square backboard?
It'll be just like those.
Is there a preference to go to the square one?
A little bit.
I think that's more accurate for what they're gonna play on indoors and, you know, so I was asked to look at that.
I don't know. I want to know that this is transitional ball. Come here and stay all night and all day ball.
The question I raise is the squidges puts that low corner in head height for people trying to, where these are scalloped and they come up. That's why they're
Gotcha.
designed the way they are. Just
Okay.
keep people's head out of the backboard.
And we know they're not breakaways. Are they?
Honestly, I don't know. I'll have to look because I've had them for months.
Okay.
Speaking of ways, we've got another part where they're just can't stay off the rim. I'm going to replace 2 of those with breakaways
They
next week.
will hang. Little kids.
They're not high enough, so they got to grab the net and climb.
They find a way. They way to get up there and hang.
So I don't think that they're standard that you get as a breakaway, but we'll definitely look at it. Next slide. Our bleacher just came in yesterday. We will be prepping and pouring the bleacher pad at the football field starting tomorrow, trying to get a lot of this prep work done before the rains because it gets pretty sloppy over there on that side of it. So hopefully we'll get that in. We've got the player benches as well, just to install, to assemble them and take them out there.
The player benches bolted there, are they movable?
No, they're on that turf. You want something
Yeah.
that moves around, and that way, you know, it doesn't leave the indentions in the carpet. You just kind of keep moving around. So, next slide. Pedestrian bridge. That is the bridge actually that's been installed. Was able to get a little linear footage to it, and we already have a security light installed on the bridge currently, so it's not a dark spot. And the plan is to put another light on this side. Once the sidewalk in, we can light up the whole path. I had already, had discussed with Georgia Power about using the light poles as they currently sit and mounting lights on the backside, the soft lighting all the way through this sidewalk to lit up at night.
Yeah, instead of the wood bridge.
Next slide, please. The sidewalks, as we mentioned earlier, the plan is to start the sidewalks at the asphalt in front of Sean's trailer, go all the way through to the bridge, connect the bridge to the other side, go between fields 3 and 4, out to the parking lot out there. In weather, you have hard surface that you can walk all the way from one side to the other. That's your obligated local match that Carol said was $2,000. Now we're under budget, which is going to afford us the opportunity to get some other things in the same dollar. Very possible. I want to see somebody hit one out in the street.
Okay.
Oh, believe me now. I play,
Yes.
I
Oh,
play
I
with-
was
play-
coming with
women
the
can hit it
restroom.
out.
I was coming with the restroom. Concession, right.
This is the remainder that we have after that obligated. Got about $100,000 of our local match. These are just some of the items that we've discussed doing with money. Coating and striping the parking lot. Restrooms is one of the signage, circuit training purpose, planning, and we also mentioned backstops behind the baseball batters.
There's some other items that came up during the beginning of the project. And that was like the padding on the tops. The padding that existed was so bad that as you were set off, it was coming apart. So, each of those holes going to require padding back there to protect the catcher, protect the balls, so there's going to be some additional. Also, another item that we're going to get are the portable masks, because we didn't build on the baseball fields. We build mounds because of the different age groups. So there'll need to be at least 2 portable mounds and lift up, reorient.
Wonderful. With keeping it with time as much as we can. I know we're at 6:05. It's a good little beginning of gathering information. I want to provide each of our commission some time to ask any questions, some comments before we close out to our directors if we have any.
I just had one quick question about the thing that's behind the portable, the poles that are back. Will that area be paved where the lights are on the portable?
South end,
Yes.
we're not going to pave it. We're actually going to use some more permeable material
Okay.
to spread that will pack, just because we want the water to keep moving. For a hard surface, I think we create more of a water issue.
Okay.
I just think you ended the presentation well, said that we are under budget.
Mhm.
instead of we get a change order.
Right. The only thing I'd say is super excited on the project. Glut. Thank you for taking the time to explain and catch us up to speed. As we look at the Commissioner Rowland and I had this discussion, and I think Director Book would be on the same page that as we look at supporting the park and our rec program, maybe look at is there a possibility to have a combination of restaurant, snack bar facility or something that we could rent out or have as a, so if you scope that out, that would be
Got it today.
awesome. Perfect. Same page.
Actually, I've been working with the vendor that we got the bass from at Overlook and helped design kind of a multi-use bathroom concession stand with a storage area beside it, because there's another equipment that goes with the football field. It's a broom, kind of fluffs up the material after so many hours of use, and it'll be a place to store that and some other supplies and stuff. So I'll have the number tomorrow.
That number will $170,000. So
No.
maybe
Mhm.
hang on.
Thank you.
Appreciate all your work, guys. We'll be in touch. Thank you so much. With that, we will move directly into our regular meeting. Thank you for the work of staff. Thank you to all of the commissioners who've worked diligently to ensure that we have the dollars and the foresight to build one of our most well-known parks, but also to give our citizens services and things that they are. So I appreciate my commission for that hard work. With that, we like to call to order this Brunswick Commission regular scheduled commission meeting for Wednesday, January 15th, 2025. If we could all please stand for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. And we will have our invocation by Pastor Carlos Williams. It is good to see him in the house. We appreciate everything you for the city, but also got to grow up under you working. So thank you, Pastor, for being here.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Let's bow our heads, please. God, your word says to pray for those who have rule over us. Lord, we thank you for the commissioners, the city officials, and other staff that you've given this city, oh God. And Lord, we pray, oh God, that your grace, oh God, would be sufficient. Your strength is made perfect in weakness. And we thank you for giving them the grace to overcome every challenge, every obstacle they may face this year, oh God. We thank you, Lord. We commit plans, oh God. We commit things unto you. We pray your presence will be upon it, oh God. Let your glory go before them and be their right. Let every crooked way straight, every rough place be made smooth. Only you can push back principalities, oh God, and powers that would try to hinder the assignment, oh God. We ask for angels, God, around them and around the city, oh God. Lord, as they feed to move forward, oh God. We for strategic help, oh God, that you would give them the right kind of, oh God. In the name of Jesus, pray for wisdom beyond their years, knowledge and understanding. Lord, give them witty ideas, oh God. Let there be a camaraderie in how they work together in unity, oh God. We thank you, Lord, that pieces in the jigsaw puzzle, oh God, you're going to bring it all together. And Lord, I pray that this year will be a year of impact, oh God, and effectiveness like never before, God. We speak your blessing on them, upon their families, upon their endeavors, oh God. Give them favor, oh God. Surround them with favor like a shield. And Lord, I pray we use these and others to be a footprint and your handprint upon this land. On in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, the republic stands one nation, visible.
Perfect prayer to start the year out.
Yes,
So
definitely.
we want to say thank you to the pastor. We'll move on to the approval of the agenda and the adoption of the January 18th, 2025 scheduled meeting agenda. Do we have any addendums, subtractions? Hearing none, we'll open it for a motion to accept.
Motion to approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
Hearing a first and a second, all in favor, show by the usual sign of aye. Aye. All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. The agenda is adopted. With that, we will now move on to appointments. The first appointment we have is the 2025 Mayor Pro Tem position. And with that, we will open it up for nominations.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion that we nominate Commissioner Kendra Rowe for Mayor Pro for 25.
Hearing a first, do we have a second?
Second.
Hearing a first and a second. All those in favor show by the usual sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes, and the new Mayor Pro Tem of our city committee is Mayor Pro Tem Kendra Rowe. We'll now move on to our tree board appointment, which have one appointment in. We have received an application, and the application is someone we know very well. Trying to, Miss Jill.
Right.
Miss Jill Wright, I see you. I'm trying to a piece of paper I'm supposed to have. If you could step to the front, Miss Wright. Is it? Okay. How you doing?
Good.
Thank you so much for the work you've already put in.
Sure.
I've seen you at a lot of tree days. And
Yeah.
I know you've been a part of it for a long time, keeping us straight, keeping us focused on the many things that keep our community beautiful. Let's talk a little bit about why you want to rejoin the tree board.
Sure, sure. Well, I love trees, and I think our city has a lot of great trees that we need to save, and our tree canopy gets older. We want to plant some new trees and continue in that. And we've got two great programs recently, grants that we received, and so we're kind of middle of them, which is with the green infrastructure. And I'd like to continue what we've started with that. And we have Arbor Day coming on February 22nd. And we got a grant to give tree giveaways for that as well. So I just love to continue the work.
That's right. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
I actually think you were the person who gave me my first tree. It is not alive anymore. You gave it to me. I want to say thank you. Any questions for Miss Wright? Seeing none. No?
Jill, thank you, Lance. That's counterpart. So we just really want to tell you thank you. You have been committed to, loyal to, a great resident of the city,
Yeah.
and that you can help. You're always there to help. And
Well,
so
I
thank
love
you.
this. I think it has tremendous potential, and I just love more people involved. In we did a tree walk the beginning of the year in the Urbana Perry Park neighborhood. Great tree walk. Introduced some invasive trees, some good trees, and we can plant some new trees. We planted magnolia in Abe Brown Park, and would love to do some more plants on the north side of Gloucester.
Thank you.
Sure.
Thank you so much for that. We'll open it for a motion.
Miss, go ahead.
Hearing the first, do I hear a second? Hearing the first and a second. All those in favor show by a sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing the motion passes and she's reappointed. Thank you, Ms. Wright. We will now move on to update on TextMyGov, the 311 system. Ms. Ban Jordan. There we go.
Hey, everybody.
Hey, how are you doing?
Good. Okay. Just jump right into the presentation. This has been long awaited, so and basically it's just a text messaging service, and it does have two phases, so we'll go over that. Can y'all hear me okay? Okay. I'm sorry, I'm a little soft spoken. Oh, okay. My name is LaJada Banfield, and I am currently a T assistant in the Information Technology Department at the City of Brunswick. And I have Missy Jordan. She is the new PIO, so she'll be me as well, go over the marketing plan for this project. IT is having some technical difficulties. So, yep. Okay. All right, guys. So we'll go started. Sorry about that. So again, this is my Gov. It is a text messaging service system for mobile devices for citizens or anyone who wants to stay informed with the city of Brunswick and what we went on. So next slide. So, like I said before, it two phases. So, phase one is basically going to be text alerts. So, think of this as, and don't get the screen because there is some technical stuff going on. But, anyways, it's the text alerts. So, that's just one way communication. So, basically, you are sent into this list, and then we are giving information, whether that be foreclosures, emergencies, anything that we feel is pertinent for citizens, anyone else that wants to know for them to know. It is not two-way, so do not have the ability to text and then receive answers to any questions that you may have. This is solely what we want you to know. So we can keep going.
Ms. Banfield, can I ask a
Yes.
question real quick on?
Absolutely.
So I see pictures are up there, but
Yes.
like weather alerts with so
Correct.
hurricanes.
Anything of that nature. Exactly. For instance, Hurricane Helene have been a very good time for us to implement that. Unfortunately, we weren't able to that at that time, but that's an example of something that would have been good to send out, of
Perfect.
course.
Thank you.
Yeah, and these are things to expect with that service. So for one is the initial reach out. So to prompt the system to get this roll, you would text the keyword Brunswick info to the code. Once you do that, it is going to text you back and ask you to verify you are indeed wanting to opt to the City of Brunswick's text alert system. Then from there, again, you receive any of those updates. So they basically then wait to receive anything that I want to send them. And this can be PDF files, JPEGs, it could be flyers, it can be just text, whatever we want, we can send. So, and another for them to expect is that data and message rates will apply. We are not charging at all for this service, but it is good for people to know that it's standard messaging. So check with your carrier. We can go on. So currently, what would be there is that we do have 218 opt-ins so far. So that is from our quarterly meeting that we did back in September. So we did present there. That was kind of like our soft out, and all MPAs were present. So they were able to opt in and take some collaterals back to the meetings. And then this is also in October we went live on Brunswick City site. So since then, this has been the opt-ins we've had from phase one. So I think that's pretty good. So if you guys want to do it now, if you would like, you text Brunswick info to the code to opt in just to see how easy it is to opt in. Yeah, so it's and forget it. So I think about it as like my elderly grandmother. I know she's not too tech savvy, so I can just, hey grandma, let me see your phone and just opt her in. I know if I'm away, she'll be aware of like time sensitive things that she needs to know.
It's 209 now. I just did it. So it's very easy. Very easy.
Right. Okay, so we'll get into phase. So phase two, where you can now do that two-way communication. So with the text alerts, which is just one way, now there is more of a conversation going on. So the way to opt into this is an actual number. It's not a code this time. It is an actual assigned number that we have. And let's say you missed your trash pickup. I know we get a lot of those at the customer service for missed trash pickups, potholes, that nature. I get random messages about, I don't know how they even get my issue, but a lot of host of things. So now you can actually text and know that it's going to the respective department and somebody is handling it and yeah, not getting lost in the sea somewhere. So that's the overview of phase two and we going.
Can I ask a question on phase two?
Yeah.
Um, I guess well, part of my question is for phase one.
Mhm.
Can you put in like 11 dates into that?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay.
It is complete up to our discretion. We
Okay.
choose to do, and we can divvy out those lists. That makes sense.
I would love to just include registration, election, that kind of stuff. So that's
Absolutely.
perfect. Could put that set of information in there. So school clears, yeah, for
Mhm.
sure. 100%. The second one is the Tim reply. Could someone ask about careers with the city of Brunswick? So you had somebody who's looking to apply. Could they
Absolutely.
get info through there?
Absolutely. Because that is a landing page that is already currently on our website, it will them directly there and they'll be able to be all of the current job openings and descriptions of everything else. Yeah. Absolutely.
I have a question. Is
Yes,
it
ma'am.
monitored that to monitor or just
Absolutely. So
Okay.
that is the biggest thing ways to make sure that we know exactly where that communicate going and there is somebody that is responsible for it. And typically it is going to email. So getting those reports immediately when they're submitted. So yes, absolutely.
so basically somebody's responsible for 24/7?
The service is available 24/7, but of course most people that are working, they're 9 to 5, so when they do come in they'll see that
So
communication.
it's a 24-hour delay of response.
Right, just
Okay.
depending on they send it at o'clock in the morning, of
Okay.
course. Yes,
Okay.
ma'am. Okay, so again, we can expect information two-way back and someone can ask, when is the next commission meeting, when next city event, ribbon cutting, anything of that nature, and they can get that information back. They'll
Would they get a automatic response? Just say if it's 2 o'clock in the morning
right,
and they decide to say, "Hey, when is the next event?" Or
right now
so
something like
does
that.
it respond
Yes,
back auto to say you will get a response in within 20 hours, or you will get or something will there be a response back out like the
yes.
automated?
So thing of that nature where it's mostly just information, they'll get an immediate response. That is information that's already available. But if it's someone that's wanting to like have that looked at by an actual person,
Mm-hmm.
that may be a delay. But if they just want to know when next
So
commission
will you
meeting
get a
is, they'll
response if
send
you
it.
have an issue? I guess that's
Exactly.
what kind of response you get if you have an issue. 2 o'clock in the morning, you might
Yeah.
decide I wake up,
Mm-hmm.
this on my mind. I forgot to tell trash man didn't come. So
Right. Yes, we will absolutely let them. It may be a delay, but someone will get back to them in that allotted time, and we'll know when that person is in the office, so they'll know exactly when they can expect a response.
okay, make sure that happens now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes.
Commissioner, I just tested it, and it's like if you put in the keywords from the website, and we'll give
Mhm.
them the proper links. But then it gave me the option to say, if you want to have a more detailed question, text the word chat, and which I assume will
Exactly.
trigger. And I
Right.
end up going to a department head, but there probably would be a response, I would assume.
Right.
to say,
Exactly.
"Hey, we'll get back to you on."
Give as much information as we can on the front end, and then if it requires someone with more experience to tackle that, they'll want like personally too.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Internally, will we be, does it have a function where we can track response times?
So that's something we're working on.
Okay.
I'll
I
get
just
it.
think it'd
Yeah,
be, and I understand this is one, and we're gonna
yeah,
keep working on it, perfecting it.
yeah.
I just would love if say, hey,
Be able to track.
most of these that aren't just an automated text response. If
Mm.
I hit a pothole at 10:30, I get an email 24 hours later. Usually, problem is fixed within a month.
Right.
Whatever it is, it allows us to just say we're getting good at
Yeah,
this.
the
Yes.
progress. Absolutely. So we can move forward. So again, all of the concerns you guys have, those are the things that we're to pinpoint now, which is why it hasn't gone completely live as of yet. Backend is ready to go. Like you just texted and you got that information, but we're trying to make more certain all of these different departments are aware of the influx that they're going to get, not just looking like, hey, where's this stuff coming from? We're knowing exactly who's responsible for, and then Mayor, to your point, we can track open close times or how long are issues taking to get resolved and what issues are we actually in. So that's what we're trying to hone in on now. So we can expect to see this go live March 3rd.
Going live on March the 3rd.
So basically, pushing more of the marketing and actually getting this out public because it's going to be, I think, pretty huge once people know that they have the ability to do this. So that's the big thing, getting the word out. But before we do that, we really need to sit down with each department, the heads, and talk about what this is going to mean for them as far as the load. That's what that really is going to be the focus is the load, communication with departments, and then marketing and getting it out.
I was just kind of at our commission meeting, see we can during the committee
Mm,
meeting
yeah,
help to promote
yeah,
kickoff of the March.
yeah. Okay.
Question for me, quick.
Mm.
What happens? I hope no one does this, but I'm just wondering what happens
Mhm.
if someone uses this in a safety situation. Does
Mm.
it automatically connect, or does it tell you to call 911?
It tells call
It
911.
tells you to call. Okay.
Yes. So very adamant about like this is not a emergency hotline. So it will know, hey, if this is an emergency, call 911. Like not that. So we're very forward about that. Yes, sir. Mhm. So I'll go ahead and hand it over to Ms.
Hello, how are y'all doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. So, into the marketing aspect of it. So, of course, our target market is going to be those who live in the city of Brunswick, of course, but not only them, those who also work and play and just have fun in the city as well. So, if you'll go to the next slide, I did a little marketing plan over it. Probably looks really on, you can't see it. But it broke it down more by like age graphics. So the first age is Gen Z, which is going to be very like digital marketing heavy. So utilize Facebook, Instagram, as well as LinkedIn. And a lot of this content is going to be putting on social media. It's going to be really engaging. So it's going to be videos, like to get connected with this. Is it beneficial? Just little like that. And then allowing the stuff that we're pushing out is like conversation almost like have you opted into this, why haven't you, if you have, do you like it, beneficial? So just our content on social media will be super engaging in that sense. And then across the board on demographics, of course, the website is going to be your one-stop shop for anybody looking for Brunswick related things. So you can opt in through the website if you aren't tech savvy, which is I think is a really cool thing. And I'm tech savvy, but I really did it through the website. I don't really know why. But just continuing on the Gen Z side, so just outreach and more specifically at 18 to 24 demographic and getting plugged in and continuing our partnership with the College of Coastal. So getting connected with the housing specifically, the students that are living on campus or citizens are living in the city of Brunswick. So we want to make sure that we're connected with them as well as student life and on-campus life. So we'll start that initiative well. And then moving on to like the millennial and Gen X is going to be very similar. When I think of these two groups, I think of working class. But that digital marketing aspect is gonna also apply to both these. The only big difference is I feel like we would be targeting more millennials on Instagram than Gen X. Not saying Gen X isn't on Instagram, but that's just a little just overview. But Facebook and LinkedIn would kind of main two for Gen X, and then Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn for millennials. And then our community, of course, the newspaper and radio are both really heavily utilized. So definitely tap to those. And then since this is kind of like the business focus, I threw in the email marketing aspect as well. So our downtown business has all of our like downtown businesses and their emails and contact downtown, as well as all of those that work in WIC. So that's kind of just focusing on those that work in this. And then plugged in with the chamber as well for their business list on those that also work in the city and those outside of the that come and play and all that good stuff. So that millennial and Gen again is very similar, and then always going to be a little bit of an overlapping method here. And then going to the 60 plus, marketing is still going to be a thing. Facebook, I feel, is going to be the more used platform for this age group. Newspaper and radio are really heavily relied on for this age demographic. And then just some other things that we had was a senior center like workshop in a sense. So going to the senior center and having a couple people come with us to help them get opted in, but not only help them to like show them as well, to empower them to tell a friend about this, or to help their neighbor with this. So not only helping them get it, but also show them that it's super easy. All you have to do is text the Brunswick info number, and then hopefully that would empower them to help a friend or helper, or maybe help us spread the word. And then I also said church bulletins would very much reach the 60 plus demographic. So just plugged in with all of our churches here in the city, and having them almost be our cheerleader for this program and just helping us spread it. And that way, so moving on to the next slide, I listed out some other methods that don't necessarily fit within a certain age demographic. It's just kind of, it reaches who it reaches in a way. Connecting with our employers in the city, which focuses on those that are working city. So I said the college staff, the hospital staff, King and Prince, longshoremen, local school staff, etc., offices here in the city. Again, the church bulletin board, just making we're continuing our communication partnership with the Brunswick Housing Authority and expanding on that. I said local meetings and outreach. So I know that Lejada and I have already done all of the MPA and getting this pushed out, but just continuing partnership and continuing up because this is going to be an ongoing effort. And then also communicating with like our local realtors. So as people move to Brunswick downtown, it's a really way to get plugged in and a super easy way too, but just a way that we can inform people that may be new to the area and not know. We have I left some flyers outside by the commission, but just physical flyers about the city as well as downtown and just like high traffic areas. Realistically, I would love for this everywhere so you would see it a few times and you'd be like, oh, this is important. Maybe I should opt in. As I was literally walking in Old City Hall, the DDA monthly posters that go out all around downtown, we probably put out like 70. Usually when I have like dead space on it, I'll add just little like quick info. So it could also be something that's added on there, just another kind of get it pushed out. And then I just said internal promotion at events and just really utilizing like our Brunswick employees as they're out engaging with the community or out tabling at an event, just empowering them to, you know, as they're talking to people, maybe someone's come to them about how they didn't know that there was going to be this road closure and it made them late work. You can be like, I'm sorry about that, but you should really opt into Text My Gov. You could have gotten a text notification about, you don't even have to get on social media to see. So just continuing like just, the empowerment of engaging, having others engage and help spread for us. And then last thing that we could do is utilize our DDA billboard for a few weeks, hopefully throughout this month, February. But that was just a few other things. You can go to the next slide. ultimately, in closing, these efforts of marketing this are going to be ongoing. But ultimately, at the end of the day, word of mouth is always the best form of marketing. So we ultimately need you to help us spread the word about this. So as you're out and about, we ask that you please just tell people about it as well. And then as we roll phase 1 and phase 2, the communication side, we're gonna roll out phase 1 now. So probably next week, I'll probably start just getting the posting ready for social media. But as for phase 2, we wouldn't roll that out until, like I said, March 3rd. But what's really cool is that we can get a lot of people opted into this. And then as soon as the other one goes live, we can text and say, hey, this new thing is live, out. Oh, yeah, that's what I got.
Wonderful, great info. We know uh, Ms. Banfield, Ms. put in a lot of work over time to ensure that we are up to date and ready for this thing to launch in March. Any questions or comments in the commission?
I just have one suggestion.
Yeah.
First day,
Okay.
February and March, have like a little event or something, make it fun. So as people are walk, strolling, whatever they're doing, stop by and get signed up for text alerts. Give them a little balloon trinket or something.
Yeah.
Send them on their merry way.
Right. For sure.
Appreciate the IT department's hard work on this and your hard work. I'm excited about presentation, and you guys obviously have spent a lot of energy and effort prepping for the, thank you. Just look forward to the rollout, and then look forward to us using it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
I
you.
do have one quick question. I know that we have the mobile app. Can this also be used on this?
Uh,
No.
well, it's not an app that you would-
Well, okay, I get that part, but, okay, so not an, but is there not for desktop, just only on cell phones?
no, ma'am.
Okay.
It's a little more on the IT tool.
And then also do you have a way to track their request? Mm. Okay, fair. Okay, just asking these questions because I've been asking William about this since I got on because I saw other cities do it. Very helpful. So, all right.
It is
Thank
really
you
cool.
so much.
Thank you.
With that, we will now move on to items to consider for approval or for consider approval of December 18th, 2020 regular scheduled meeting minutes. We have any changes or addendums? City clerk, all good? Commission, anything there? If not, open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve the minutes from December 8th, 2024 as presented.
The first, do I hear a second?
Second.
First and a second, all those in favor show by the sign of aye. Aye. All those the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. The minutes are adopted. We'll now move on to number 5, the approval of resolution number 025-01 to adopt qualifying fees for 2025 election. Doesn't have a name beside it, so I'm not sure who it goes to. Is that city attorney Corey?
Sure. This is just a resolution that sets qualifying fees at 3% of the salary for the 3 positions that are up for election in November, which is mayor, North and South Ward.
Thank you. Questions or comments, from the commission?
So
Seeing,
I do have a question. Attorney Corey, the numbers on this resolution that's listed, that we have in front of us.
Well, there's a amendment I believe the mayor has in his folder.
You read the dollars on the please.
and for the public, I can read them out loud. Just for the fullness, I don't have it in front of you. I read the whole resolution.
Sure.
Resolution number 2025-01, whereas the Brunswick City Commissioners has considered the 224 gross salaries of elected city officials and the need for establishing fees for applying for each city office to be filled in the upcoming election of 2025. Whereas the city commission, upon properly made and seconded in its regular meeting held January 15th, 2025, voted unanimous to set those fees at 3 of the salaries in accordance with OCGA 1-2-31. Now therefore be it resolved by the session of the city of Brunswick that the 2025 qualifying fees for election city officials be and hereby are fixed at 3% of said salary amounts as follows. The mayor's amount is $482.68. North Ward Commissioner, $51.56, as is the South Commissioner, $351.56. With that, any questions or comments? Here we will open it for.
Motion to approve resolution 2025-0101, City of Brunswick Board of Commissioners.
Hearing the first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing the first and the second, all in favor, show by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. I'll move on to number 6, consider approval of financial for period ending in November 30th, 2024. Director Perry.
Greetings, Mayor and Commissioners.
Good evening.
Okay, I will read to you the finance report, with finance reports ending in November of 2024. For November 2024, cash basis, our revenue came in at about 258,952. Year to date, we're holding at about 11,133,782. Net revenues and expenditures totaling for the year to date is 3,189,000. Our cash balance as of 11/30 will be 11,864,100. Dime South account, we have about 3,036,175.15. In our Georgia Fund one, we have 1,828,724.73. Sales tax for November 4, we brought in $915,008. Year to date, we're holding steady at about $3,023,991. Compared to last year, we're up about 2.38% to last year. This time, November 23rd. Okay. As we go over to capital projects, SPLOST 6, there was no SPLOST 6. Cash balance still remained the same at $182,724.34. For our SPLOST 22, we expended about $4,545,244. We earned interest at about $280,579.2. Total receipts since the inception of SPLOST has been about $20,384.28, with a cash balance holding at $7,859,852.25. Okay. Next page. Norwood Street Common Fund. There wasn't any hardly into that fund. We typically receive interest for 1 to 558. Net as of 11/30/2024, our balance is about $371.982. Okay. Multi-purpose center, Roosevelt Harris. For now, we have a cash of 803, which adjusted since that's a journal entry that we changed towards next month. This came in at about, for year to date, $452,018, and that is a year number. Okay. I think we talked about ARPA. ARPA, we were able to make sure that for the December 31st deadline, we made the deadline. It's all our contracts on that date there. So we have nothing else to go in ARPA. And our sanitation fund. Sanitation fund and billing. We had total revenue of $1,160,990. Operating we're running about 493,660. Total available cash on hand is 119,879. Waste disposal, we did for the month of November, 287,203 for a year-to-date number of 622,366. Stormwater utility fund. For stormwater, we brought in 810,330, which is year-to-date. Outflows, 506,590. Total balance at the end of the month was $9,263 cash balance. And for our Roosevelt Lawrence Center, Roosevelt Lawrence Center for the current transactions of November, the total amount of that is 15,524, in which 82 of that is salaries. Okay. So for year-to-date transaction for the Roosevelt Lawrence Center, we're looking at 84,753. And that concludes that report.
Questions and comments from the commission?
Mr. Mayor, I have several questions. Oh, go ahead.
Okay, so my quick question is under the allocations for homelessness prevention, the 250,000.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm just making sure. So I see that 123 to 936 was spent. So that means that remaining the money that we awarded to Coastal Georgia Area Communication, that means that 126,000, they still have they received the rest of the money out of the 250?
I believe since they,
Oh, that's all.
Okay, Mr. Perry, I know that you all or city manager is working on Splash reconciliation. But looking at Splash 22, I see here we have, when you look at your total receipts in 12.3 million, and we have expenditure of 4.5 million. Right? And the difference of those two numbers, the 12 and the 4, the middle column at the bottom that says city expended, you have 1,800.8 mil. Then you have over here cash on hand, 7.8 mil. 9. You have a difference of $41,011.98. Can you you have more in the bank? I mean, $41,000.98. More in the bank. Can you explain the difference?
the 41.
Well, I had to take the difference between when you subtract for expenditure, like you had, you say total receipts since inception. It's $12,384. I mean, I'm sorry, 12. You got me. Where I'm looking at.
384,000.
Then you subtract the middle column at the bottom, $4,565 and $4,565,244, right? You subtract that, you get 7,818,840 and 28, right? Okay, but you said over here, to November the 30th, you have 7,859,852.26. Take the difference of the two, you have $41,011.98 more in the bank. Is it reconciled? What is the difference? Can you count for the difference?
The difference is transfers probably from the general fund to SPLOST 22 that has been recorded in the entries that are made on the account.
Okay. This is more current. We need to make sure that these transactions are reconciled. We should not continually see things not being reconciled. Okay?
Well, the thing about reconciliation, when the month, ends, which is within a certain part of the month, by the time we're over, let's say 12 midnight, and we to go ahead and roll over to a reconciliation period, there are journal entries that are continuously moving. So even though we posted right here by like next month, typically when we have entries that's going to come, it will be adjusted. It's just the fact that
Okay.
when you do
You
this,
have here, sir, you have here, total cash on hand as of November 30th. We now January the 15th. So December 30th could have been reconciled. In a
It will
discussion
not
on
be.
that.
It will not be reconciled December 30th. Because as he stated, the cash that's entries will not have been made to that account. And as they are made, that's one of the reasons we do the year-end audit, is to reconcile all of the differences that are capped at the end of the month. What we report is end of the month information, and it's not reconciled directly at the end of that month.
Again, this is November 30th, what you have on this paper. But by the time you present to us, it's 60 days later, it should be reconciled.
But the thing is, we are reporting on the month, end of month. We're not reporting end of month and all the adjustments that are made up to date. And that's why the difference will continue to be there until we get
I'd like to see a
caught up.
department that strives to have this reconciled. Senator, we do not need to go back and forth with this. Okay?
Not my intent to go back and forth, and
My
I,
next
I
question,
with
Perry,
your
Because
information.
I have been seeing this lag in our reporting since the time I have run in the fall of 2023. I was questioning these things, but so maybe I'm seeing it differently. But now I'm seeing we constantly, consistently are lagging, and this performance is unacceptable. I'm tired of this. We have to get it together within the city of Brunswick with our finance. Mr. Perry, this is not about you. This is business. And I don't care if you all present 60, 45 days later, this information, but maybe to us privately, we need to have it updated within 6 days. I don't want to hear we can't get the journal entries done. We are behind, because you could put a cutoff date, a time period to say these numbers here at the end of this month. This is becoming sickening to me. Okay?
well, Madam Commissioner, you're welcome to come by this, and I have no problem breaking into your beast about this.
Okay.
And I can show you.
And
like
you can
you would
show it
understand.
to me. You can send it to me in
All right,
email.
come so you can see exactly what. Did
I
you
can see it on paper. I can read paper. Just produce the report, and I can.
Okay.
The next question I want to comment on. The next question mentioned about the adjustment, the cash balance over here at the Roosevelt Multipurpose Center. Now you said it'll be adjusted next month. Are we waiting on grant money, or are we waiting on to just turn money from this general fund to offset the negative
That's
balance?
typically just a transfer from the general to that fund there. That
Okay.
it is.
All right, so that comes from the general funds.
Correct.
Okay. And the next, I just compliment this budget report, performance report. I'm not sure if it's something within the software, but it is for Roosevelt Lawrence Center. This is not, it gives us what was adopted budget, shows us the current monthly events, the year-to-date transaction, and the actually what left in that line item, budget line item. So I like that. I wish we could have more of this for our other accounts, just, so we could see a little more.
Well,
So-
I'll work towards getting the accounts to that look. If that's something that you like, you would probably like.
This is very good and very, very transparent. Thank you. And that's it.
Or comments from the commission? Here and now, we'll for a motion to the financial reports the period ending in November 30th, 2024. Do I hear a motion?
I move that we approve the financial reports for period ending November the 30th, 2024.
First and a second, all those in favor show by the sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same.
Aye.
Hearing the ayes, a 4-1 vote, and the financial reports are accepted. We'll move on to number 7. Consider approval agreement with the Georgia Forestry Commission Director, Mr. Charnock.
Yes, gear changed a little bit, so I'll be presenting it this evening. Mr. Mayor, Commissioner. Purpose of coming before you tonight is to approve an agreement with the Georgia Forestry Commission for grant funding, contract a certified arborist, provide expertise and assistance with proper management of trees. The city of Brunswick, as you know, has a significant tree population with all sorts of varieties of different trees, and they contribute to the beauty and the atmosphere we have within the city of Brunswick. The trees not only provide the aesthetic benefit, but they also fill important roles as taking away stormwater and things of that nature, providing shade, reducing temperatures in homes. So they provide a lot of benefits to the city. Some of the facts and issues that came into play with this grant, proper care and maintenance of the city's trees and tree canopy is critical for their continued well-being. Significant sources are invested each year by the city and by the funds that we bring in and equipment and salary to maintain the tree equipment or the tree canopy throughout the city. Some tasks involved in the maintenance of trees include an inventory and assessment of existing tree inventory. And those are some things that we want to do a better job with. Mapping and analysis of this tree canopy. We have a grant right now that is doing the tree canopy analysis and have some reporting coming forth probably May or June on those. City staff, staff personnel as well as volunteer positions such as the tree board member have experience in maintenance and upkeep of the trees as well as the overall urban forest. And it's going to be necessary though at times for us to go outside. We don't have a certified arborist on staff, so we have to reach out to our partners to help get help a certified arborist is needed. We've worked closely with the Nature Conservancy. Ashby Worley was very instrumental in helping submit these documents. She and I worked together on, and the Georgia Forestry Commission, who has issued the possibility of the funding. So the GFC, Georgia Forestry Commission, has awarded a grant of $120,000 to the city of Brunswick to be used over a 3-year period. And that money is to be used to contract a part-time certified arborist who has the expertise to help us improve things within the city. This funding is provided from the United States Department of Agriculture, the USDA, Urban and Community Forestries across Georgia, the TAP program. So this does provide for $120,000 over 3 years. Means we have $4,000 for 3 consecutive calendar years if we do this agreement. We have several different options, and there is no match for this grant. That's a good thing too. No outlay from the city financially for this grant. So your options are authorize the mayor to sign an agreement with the Georgia Forestry Commission for $120,000 grant entitled Improving Brunswick's Urban Tree Management, Public Tree Inventory, and Arborist. You obviously choose not to do that or could take no action at this time. And I'd be glad to answer questions you have.
Questions or comments from the commission?
How you doing, Mr. Charnock?
Good. How are you?
How, and you may have said this, and it may be in the letter that's written up here document, how would the arborist be elected?
We will, it's an RFP, once the grant is approved by the commission. We have not RFP together yet. We're still getting some good information. We had a grant meeting on Tuesday for our canopy grant, and we had a lot of great information because he can give me some clarity, direction that we go. But we'll put RFP together. We'll put that RFP out, and we'll take people to fly through that RFP.
Okay, Thank you so much.
Yes, ma'am.
Other questions?
I think this is a long time coming. Thanks for all your work and Ashby's work and the tree board's work. Was in that meeting on Tuesday and said a lot of great information coming down our way. And I think it takes some of outside thinking and outside resources for us to continue to maintain tree king. Looking forward.
Thank you, Rick. Thank
All right.
Tree Board, all
Uh-huh.
your hard work.
Yeah, Jill, tree board done a great job.
To Jill, the tree board staff, thank you for all you've done. Before we put it up for a vote, I do want to say one thing. The dollars that come into our city don't come from, just out of the sky. People work very hard to ensure that these dollars to the city. Not only staff who do an incredible job ensuring that they get applications in, make phone calls, our government affairs team, people, clearly the commissioners and calls to elected officials to ensure these things move through the process. This $120,000 was specifically allocated through the IRA or the Inflation Reduction Act. There are many members of our delegation who did not vote for that, but I do want to say a big thank you to Senator Warnock and Senator Ossoff, as both of them were presenting this and ensuring it got across the line, and we are seeing dollars from the Inflation Reduction Act impact local communities just like this one, ensuring that we have an arborist in our community. So I want to say thank you to our staff, thank you to the board, so thank you to our elected delegation on the federal. With that, I'll open it for a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to authorize you to sign the agreement with Georgia Forestry Commission for a $100,000 grant entitled Brunswick's Urban Tree Management, Public Tree Inventory, and Arborist.
Hearing the first, do I hear a second?
Second.
Hearing the first and the second. All those in favor, sign of aye. Those opposed, the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. Now move on to number 8. Consider approval of resolution number 2025-02, submission of application for CHIP Housing Program Grant. Director Hunter.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm going to turn this over to our housing program manager, Chelsea Hill.
Manager Hill, thank you for being with us.
Good evening, Cosby and the commission. How are you tonight? Sorry. So we are applying for the CHIP grant again this year. You guys are probably familiar with it because we did our resolution last year in a report. Just a little bit background information. We applied last year for the new construction grant for 1.5 million, which we did not receive. After talking to DCA and our grant administrator, we learned that really we need to take that back and go for the owner occupied rehabilitation grant to kind of stabilize the community more so. When you go for the 1.5 with the new construction, you do have about 90 days to sell the homes. So they want to make that you've stabilized that community first with the rehabilitation homes and then go for the 1.5 construction. So you're kind of setting yourself for another CHIP grant either next year, maybe the year afterwards. So are applying for the owner occupied housing rehabilitation of the grant. That is for $500,000. This year we're actually eligible to go for the side, which is also $100,000. Not that we can get both, but it gives us about 8 opportunities to receive the funding. So we have chose to go for that this year. This kind of gives you a list of what the grant funds be used for. We had chose to apply for the grant funds awarded. We really want to focus on the park area. We will rehabilitate owner occupied homes to bring back just a more safe and livable standard for these homes, and in that address critical repair needs and homes back up to code, and help for like more so improving energy efficiency, hoping to reduce the financial burden of these of the financial burden that the homeowners are experiencing, and just kind of preserve the long-term value of the properties and just really help the homeowners just feel more empowered in the community that they're living in. So the application requirements here, DCA kind of required us to have, or not, they did require us to have a grant administrator, mainly because we are going for the set aside. They would like to see them distribute the funds. So we were able to secure grant administrators successfully awarded 30 grants. So she's brought a wealth of the knowledge to us and just kind of helps better understand the better process and a better way to go about applying for this. That just is a quick little map to show you guys the target area where we're focusing. We did learn Berry Park area has a higher percentage of homes, occupied homes. We do want to kind of target maybe a smaller block. There are a lot of homeowners in the areas, and that's probably the best block for us to target at the moment for the rehabilitation grant. Yeah, we kind of focused in on that area. If you'll go back one, really it's the, yeah, it's really the whole area. That's one of our first original map that the grant administrator probably about 2 days ago told me, let's open it up to that whole area, just to make sure that we have enough homes that we can support what the grant is asking for. That's Tillman and I can't remember them all. It's like Johnson, Tillman. It's right. Yeah, it's by the Whispering Oaks area, kind of coming behind Wincy in that little area. That's kind of where that is.
You see, what's that?
I think it's I Street is the senior.
Where the
citizen.
red is? That's I.
Some
That's
of the lower-
I don't know. What is that lower one? Looked at it 100 times. I should. It's the one that the school's on that faces us.
I Street, I on the south, and I believe it goes over to Stone on the west.
And up to like I think up to O Street,
Jill,
kind of comes back around.
And then you said I Street, and then it goes to how far north?
O Street.
O Street?
Yep.
Okay. And then what are the boundaries? I mean,
Stonewall said to the Pine Over property.
oh,
the east.
the Pine.
Yeah, yeah,
Stonewall back.
yeah.
Okay.
So, but did add, I think guys, I can email this to you as well, but it has the poverty rate. We have some good information on there. Tells you about how many homes, need to be rehabbed, what standard condition, and it's all color coded. So it's a real map.
Yeah, we see it. Because it's our neighborhood, yeah.
Okay, there you go.
So, Chelsea, in response to Commissioner Axon Williams's inquiry, could you please just provide the outlining boundary of the area that you're keying in on?
With the map or just now?
Just period.
Okay,
Later.
yes.
Can you just send that information? So
Yes.
they'll have that specific. So if somebody's asking about, is my home in the area, do I qualify because
Okay.
is my home within that radius area, then you can specifically tell them, yes, from this street to that street, from that street to that, yes, you qualify.
Yeah, absolutely. I can make that happen.
And Chelsea, to tag on that, any particular qualifications that the homeowners have to meet?
There are quite a few requirements that the homes do have to meet in order to receive the funding. And there's a list of them I can email over to you guys as well. And that's why we kind of opened up that area to make sure we had a broader, just area, sure we could grasp 6 homes in that area, because they do have a good bit of requirements for that as well.
But you all in within that program, the grant administrator along with the staff will have intake, will walk that person through that application process, which will provide specific requirements or qualifications that will have to go through. That's usually how the program is,
Yes,
to make
ma'am.
sure that they have that stuff.
Absolutely. I'm hoping to partner with the, neighborhood planning committee or assembly that's in that area and, work together with that community to try to make the biggest impact we possibly can there. So, yeah, absolutely.
Question, now the grant administrator, they will just be in a consultant status, or how are they paid, or what exactly?
She is going to be more of a hybrid due to the location of where she is. She's not going to be able to come down all the time. So we are working through that with her, and she's going to get a nice contract up. It will not be the normal rate for if she was administering the whole grant. So she is definitely more on a consent basis. She's got a little bit more, few more steps past consultant due to DCA's requirement of having a grant administrator because of this side. So they'll probably down and do or not probably, they will come down and do the lead testing, the asbestos testing. She will submit the grant. Right now I'm sending everything. She's kind of fine-tuning it and putting it in her format and making sure we have information for her. But absolutely, we will begin a contract from, but because it's kind of, and none of that happens unless we get awarded. So if we don't get awarded, then nothing there. So.
I did have the question, did we by chance, because I'm a person that's big on relationships, I don't know if the department do it here like how we do with councils in other cities. Did you all reach out to the other cities that were the last time to try to compare, like Waycross, for example?
With it, we got an RFP and spoke to quite a few grant administrators, and they really run a lot of grants. Like she has 7 open right now, from America to Perry. I think she might want to make, and I could have them confused. We have not, Tifton is one of them. We have not only went out and spoke to those exact cities, but we have been following their guidelines as far as how she's worked with how they've went about it. Tifton wrote their grant, and that's kind of, we're going about ours as well. So per the grant administrators and just the knowledge gained, we have kind of structured our grant writing towards that, personally to a city at this point in time yet.
I have one more question. Now, have we determined, and you may have said this, how we are going to use the $2.5 million that we have in for its affordable housing program, or this is not spent and this is totally different?
That is completely different. This does help just complement what we would like to do with that. Rehabilitating homes is definitely a portion of the affordable housing plan that you're talking about with 3.5 million. And this is just going to be enhancement to it, a nice little jump start. And I can't even say jump start, already working on a few projects, but that will definitely be to you guys soon of what we want to do, how we're structuring that program, but I'm really excited about the housing program. So, but this is just a complement to it. The DCA has given us an opportunity to go out for the CHIP grant to bring $500,000 or $500,000 into the community. So we just don't want to miss out on the opportunity.
Good. Thank you so much, and that we make the mark this time.
Yes. We've felt scoring sheet. The grader feels pretty strong about it. You know, don't want to count much before they hatch, but she only give us some really good feedback, and she has not had a grant funded yet. So
We don't want to be the first.
I know. Thanks tonight.
Any additional comments or questions? My last comment would be more to staff, or actually to you all as you run the program, just ensure that we engage government affairs, those who are in Atlanta. Once the application is sent in, the next call be to our government affairs. Have to go ahead and set up meetings with whomever would be making these decisions in Atlanta. So
That
I
would be
appreciate it.
amazing.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys. Y'all have a great night.
You too.
Thank you,
Thank
Chancellor.
you.
We'll now open it for a motion to consider approval of resolution number 2025-02.
Make a motion, Mr. Mayor, that we approve the grant resolution and grant administrative election as presented.
Second.
Hearing the first and the second, all those in favor show by the usual of aye.
Aye.
All those the same. Hearing none, the motion passes. We will now adjourn for executive session for the purposes of litigation, personnel, and real estate. Have a motion.
Motion to turn to executive session.
Hearing the first, do I hear a second? Hearing the first, second, all those in favor show by a sign of aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, the same. Hearing none, we're adjourned to. Thank you all. We are back. Executive session. No decisions were made. We will now open it for a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Hearing first and a second, all those in favor show by sign of aye.
Aye.
All those the same. Hearing none, the meeting is adjourned.